Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Anfield Talk. It's with myself, no Ben today because he's at the stadium, but you've got myself, Football with Shigz, accompanied with Mo. How you doing, my friend? You well?
I've been good, man. I've been good, thankfully. I've been good,
Good, good,
keeping
good,
well.
good. That's what we like to hear. The man himself. Shout out to Ben. Says big up, boys. Gutted I can't be with you, but I'm watching. Glad to hear it. And out to Kadar. I hope I said your name right. Kadir. Big up, lads. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So, as you can see, the scoreline: Liverpool 2, Wolves nil, and it was an interesting game. I'll let you kick off how you felt about the first half, Mo. Just tell me what first of all how you felt about the lineup, and then how you felt the first half went.
Yeah, I was satisfied with the lineup. I thought we needed a bit of rotation. We've been playing the same midfield, the same defense for quite some time now. For Robertson, I've all the defenders depth the rest. He's the only one that's been the most intense in terms of all of our defenders. So Robertson definitely does the rest. I'm glad Jota and Nunes, this new front three, got a test because I feel like it was working well. It was a bit of a shame about the midfield, which didn't match up to the rest of the team. But overall, I was happy with the lineup because we need to rotate and we need a different place in the pitch for sure.
Yeah, I was kind of happy to see Costas, aka Zeus, um, play. So I haven't seen him play for a while. I can't remember the last time I seen him play this season. He's had few opportunities this season, and because of how we've been playing, I'm surprised about that. But I was also a little disappointed that Gakpo didn't start as well. But I think he might have an eye on United coming up, and we'll discuss that later. But yeah, it was just the changes that they made. I, I don't know. The first half, like you said, it was a little bit like backstage. It was a little bit. It wasn't really much to write home about. The midfield and the attack didn't really click. I have to give Wolves their credit because they kept their defensive shape. They didn't really give much space to Jota or Nunes, but we didn't really force the issue. Like it wasn't a time in the first half where I felt like we penned back Wolves in their own half and kind of not peppered their goalkeeper, but he did make a couple of saves. Well, he made I think it was one save the first half from
Yeah.
Elliot, but I don't know. It didn't. It doesn't feel. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like Liverpool. If that makes sense.
Nah, yeah. I mean, you're definitely right. It wasn't a performance where we're going out of it and feeling satisfied or convinced or we know anything more about Liverpool. It's like we haven't learned anything new, and we didn't play particularly bad either. But it was just a situation where we had a defense that was I thought the defenders defended well in the high line and near the box, and you had the offensive players who were combining well, but it was the midfield. Elliot and Stefan at two number eight didn't work with, in my opinion. Also, I mean, you have Fabinho. I think Fabinho overall played a fantastic game. Fabinho was excellent in it, but two eights near him, the one thing that we need from these two is not only intensity, which Elia and Stefan could both bring, but we need ball carriers, and both of them weren't particularly good ball carriers in that game. It was a situation where Fabinho might have won the ball near the midfield area, near the middle of the pitch, and he wasn't able to carry the ball forward, and that led to what it led, where Nunes, Jota, and Salah both had to drop so deep to receive the ball, and that instantly means that we can't be as lethal or put as many runners into the box because then we also have to cover also. So it was a rotated team. You had Elliot. You had a different kind of midfield, a different style of midfield, a different style of attack, and a few new defenders in there. So I'm not surprised about the rustiness, but we can see why we didn't play as particularly well as we have in perhaps the last three Premier League games, or not the last, but the last two Premier League games before the last one.
Yeah,
So I can see the reasons why, and that was because of rustiness and different players. That's a simple explanation.
yeah. It was a bit very like you said earlier. It was. I wrote down in my notes when I was watching the game like the midfield had no guile. Like it was very predictable, and I don't know if that's symptomatic of how we played. Where Liverpool have become very predictable in their play. Kind of, someone comes short, 1-2, send it out to Trent, and then put it in. And it was like it was like everything was in front of Wolves, and they were able to manage how to defend, to squeeze up space. And like I said, Elliot did get a chance where there's a shot. Well, so he had two chances: the header, lovely ball from Nunes, but I don't know. Headering is not Elliot's strongest suit.
I mean, he's never been. I mean, I've seen him head the ball quite a few times, and never has he looked convinced when he goes for aerial duels. To
Yeah,
be honest,
very
but
much
yeah,
so. And
for
then
sure.
the second time where he had a shot where he drove it into the ground, where Saar made it was a good save, but it was with his right. I think it was with his right foot. So he wasn't able to get much power because he hit it into the ground. When the whistle went, I was just like, oh man, this is this is this is not the football I've grown up with Klopp with. But second half, I feel like the changes Wolves made helped us more than it helped them. What was
Yeah,
your
I was just gonna say, I thought, like I said, we discussed about the rustiness and new players and them not combining well. I thought as the game went on, we started to see them gel and started to see and kind of get used to playing. I generally thought Jota dropping in deep and Nunes staying out wide and left and making us run to the walls was an excellent combination. I think Jota and Nunes suit each other really really well. I think Jota can play that Firmino role where he's not being a poacher. He's not being as effective in the box as he used to be for us. But he's picking up areas where we need our striker to pick up, and that's why in my opinion, for now the time being until we develop a new system, that Nunes has to be our left wing. When he can, I don't think Nunes can play striker simply because of the gap we leave in between the central areas in midfield and the offensive areas. Jota picks all those areas the same way a Firmino can, the same way a Gakpo can. Nunes can't do that. So that's why I think Nunes is best position left wing, and he was good again in my opinion today. He put a good performance in my opinion. But yeah, I thought the change of Wolves game did help us a bit. We grew into the game a bit. We had obviously the Nunes goal that got disallowed. Then instantly we respond, which I'm so glad we did because it can be so easy for us, especially considering how we have played in the last few weeks, where we get the goal, it doesn't get disallowed, and we can see that is something that I wouldn't be surprised to happen, and thankfully it didn't happen. We were able to react well and respond not only one goal but two goals, which comfortably put the game in our side.
Very much so. Out to Kadir as well. It says Nunes had an underrated game. His switch of plays was brilliant, getting better each game he has with a massive impact on the way we attack. Very much so. He was unlucky to get the goal disallowed, which I thought was a bit harsh, but I get it. It impacted on the defenders being able to block the shot. But I think he was the best, even though he didn't get a goal. I thought he was the best out of all of our strikers that played today. I know Jota got the assist and Salah got the goal, but I think he was the one that was more forceful, the one that was actually trying stuff. And to me, and this is not a knock on Jota because I know he's only just come back, but I just feel like Jota still hasn't got up to speed in terms of playing that striker role at the moment. It just felt a little bit disjointed in terms of he wasn't able to, although he had the assist for, I say although he was in the right place to get the assist with for Van Dijk the goal, which I thought was good. Like you said earlier, normally we kind of, if things don't go our way or we get a goal disallowed, our heads drop. But in this game, it just seemed to spur us on. So I was happy
Yeah.
with that. But I just think with Jota, I think he still needs a few more games before he gets. I think it's like his third game back. Is it third game back?
Yeah. Or third game started at least anyway.
Yeah, so he's still got a lot of time to go. But the only thing I was going to bring up, you were saying with Nunes, when Diaz comes back, do you think that them two will be? Do you think Nunes will revert back to the centre, or do you think Nunes will stay? Because you got to think when Diaz, for me, is a more. I don't know what the correct word is, but he's more direct than Nunes. Nunes is direct, but I'll say Diaz has more
Nunes,
guile on the wing.
yeah, I mean Nunes and Diaz, yeah, they're two of our best left wingers, but they're two left wingers that are complete polar opposites in the sense
Yeah,
that Diaz is the kind of player who likes to receive the ball and perhaps maybe wants to combine with the player near here, maybe wants to take players on. Nunes is super direct, where
yeah,
he likes to run in one direction, not zigzags, not
yeah,
trying to go backwards and take the player on. He likes to run in one direction and uses speed, uses power, and his strength to just get through players rather than rather than perhaps trying to find space or trying to cut inside and bend one, or trying to cut inside and find a kill pass at completely different plays. But it'll be interesting to see what Klopp does, because I think it's quite clear, in my opinion anyway, that Nunes for the rest of the season should not be our striker. I feel like
Yeah,
Nunes should operate from that left hand side, and so when Diaz comes back, I mean, to be fair, depending on how this Champions League tie goes, we don't even have that many Premier League games.
yeah.
We have about 14.
Let's talk
We have,
about Champions League. That was a bit of a
we,
disaster.
we have about 14 Premier League games left anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how Klopp eases Diaz back in, considering he might only be back for the last 10 games anyway. But it'll be interesting what Klopp does. For me, I still think our best front three doesn't include Nunes, but we'll see what Klopp does when Diaz comes back.
Okay. So let's get into the goals. So first, Van Dijk's goal. I was happy for it. I was happy he got a goal. It was literally a few minutes after Nunes' goal got disallowed. Nice crossing, got headed across, and Jota was there with the assist. Pretty simple goal. If he had missed from there, then boy, we would have been in real problems. Like I said, I'm happy Van Dijk got a goal. I wasn't too worried when I saw the lineup with him and Kanate in the back line. I think that's our strongest centre back pairing. How do you think he done today? I thought he wasn't spectacular, but he was solid. What was your on him?
Yeah, no, I thought he put a good performance. I mean, like I said, none of these players put a dazzling, spectacular performance, and it was just a all-round solid performance from I think every single player. I thought Alisson played well. I thought Tsimikas played well. All things considered, he hasn't played in a while. Like I said, I think Van Dijk put also performance. I feel like I mean, like I said, the difference between the centre back partnerships when you put Van Dijk and Konate to like a Van Dijk or Gomez, Van Dijk and Matip is quite stark in my opinion. I mean, Van Dijk and Konate, it looks like they get each other, they gel off each other, they cover each other's flaws. I mean, Van Dijk these days might be a bit too like he might not be as aggressive in terms of when he's going for duels. Whereas with Konate, you can see he's up for duels. You can see Konate is up for going within his man, and these two cover these two suit each other perfectly. What the other one lacks, the other one has, and vice versa. This is a fantastic partnership, in my opinion. So, and it translates onto the pitch. You see, Wolves very very rarely were able to do anything inside a box. Yes, they had space on the sides. Yes, they had space to go driving down the center. But that's normal. I mean, Liverpool's always conceded territory when we have the ball in the opposing half. So I thought the centre back partnership was incredible, and hopefully fingers crossed Nunes Konate doesn't get injured for the rest of the season. But like I said, I don't think any play particularly played bad. I thought every play particularly pretty good. I thought Stefan was interesting today. I thought getting the yellow card early meant that for the rest of the game,
down a little bit.
yeah, exactly. He couldn't be as aggressive as he wanted to be, and that takes a little bit out of his game. But he still played well. So yeah, I was satisfied with everyone's performance overall.
Yeah. Do Konate and Van Dijk start for you against United?
1,000,000%. I mean, any other centre back partnership could drastically change the way we perform in the game, because, like I said, the way we play, we all know Klopp is not gonna even we could get 11 players injured. Klopp is not gonna shake and change the way he wants to play. He's gonna want to play that counter pressing, that intense football, and that intense football means we have to be super precise with the way we defend. Our highline has to be inch perfect, and our highline and the players need to be positionally perfect. When we play that highline and the fullbacks are overlapping and the midfielders are covering the spaces, they need to be precise, and therefore we need defenders who are willing to defend the channels. Defenders who are comfortable in the channels, and Konate and Van Dijk are comfortable in the channels. Konate and Van Dijk are quick defenders. They can deal with the pace of Rashford and Garnacho. They can deal with where Goss's build-up play and strength. And so these two have to start, my opinion, because any other defender could drastically change the way we defend in that game.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to your point earlier about the new players, Jalen in the second, well, not new players, but the players that came in. Costa, so let's move on to Salah's the second goal for us, and Salah's aka Zeus, I call him the Greek god, was able to get an assist. Strong run down the left hand side. I think it was a link up play with Nunes that flicked it on for him. Was able to
and that came from an excellent pass from Alisson initially.
Yeah. He played well as well. I was getting a little bit worried whenever the ball came to his feet, but yeah, there was
Yeah, I mean,
definitely
I'm not surprised considering what happened in the Real Madrid game. But
yeah,
it's such a shame that Alisson made that mistake against Real Madrid game because Alisson's distribution has been absolutely spot on and perfect for the
yeah.
last few years. He's absolutely incredible with the ball, and he produced and so often he's able to kill a press and kill and kill opposition's front two and front three and take them completely out of the game and bypass the whole first line of an attack simply through his passing. I mean, he does that multiple times, and it's incredible, man.
Out to Kadir, my apologies. He said it was Gakpo to Simicast. Gakpo is Gakpo's link up is top class. Well, this is the thing. We'll get onto Gakpo in a minute, but the goal that Salah scored, it kind of killed the game for Wolves because at 1-0, it's always a scary kind of, oh my God, are they going to score the last 89th minute? But that kind of killed the game. As soon as we scored that second goal, we could just see Wolves' heads just dropped, which is nice to see. We haven't seen that for a lot. We haven't seen that a lot in the teams we played at Anfield this season. So I was happy that Salah got the goal. And to add to Kadir's point, Gakpo, we thought he was going to be playing on the left. Can you replace Firmino?
Pardon, say that again. Just cut a little
I
bit.
said Gakpo with his link-up play and stuff. Do you think he's been bought to replace Firmino?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. He offers something so similar to Firmino, and I touched on this earlier about the way he's able to pick up those spaces and operate in that central area is something that only Firmino could do, and Gakpo's doing that. So we saw against Real Madrid, we saw against Newcastle, we saw sometimes in the Crystal Palace game, where Salah and Nunes are able to make those direct runs and get more touches inside the box simply because the way Gakpo was drawing out those two centre backs and drawing out the DMs and attracting. Because how many times did Gakpo and Jota even today sometimes also where they've had 3-4 players press on them and they have to wiggle out and by having those 3-4 they're creating space for the other players around them, and this is what we require from our striker in the club system. I don't know how Klopp is going to adapt to when Nunes eventually comes back to striker, but this for now the way we play is what we demand from our striker and Nunes man. I mean Gakpo and Jota they manage one of these situations.
Yeah, very much. And Kadir agrees with you. He says, yes, he will be he is the next Bobby. The way he drops deep and link play is brilliant. So intelligent in his movement as well. Very much so. This is why I was a little bit surprised they didn't start. But I think Klopp was keeping him in mind for the United game. Was it on Sunday? Is it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. So I think the thinking behind him not playing is Jota gets a little bit of a run out, kind of get the rust out with his legs, and hopefully if we do need a goal or to sort of consolidate, we can bring Jota on to get maybe a consolidation goal. But we'll see. Overall, I would give this performance. I wasn't overly impressed. I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. I don't know. Am I being too harsh, or what would you?
No, I mean spot on. I mean it wasn't like I said, it wasn't anything spectacular. It was like one of those old Liverpool games where perhaps we were playing on other games, but it was just one games where we've had to grind through and we've had to. But unfortunately, it's coming in a situation where we're having to grind through almost every game we play for. And so it isn't. We can't just dismiss it all so one off. I mean, this is how we play right now, where we concede, we end up conceding territory, and we end up conceding perhaps some dangerous chances, and we've had to fight for wins. But it's a situation we're in, and we have to accept it. I mean, like I said, it's the only way we're gonna get to 4 is by not losing games. Like, I mean, if we drew today, I still wouldn't say to 4 is out of our hands because I still think it is. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're in a top 4 race, not a title race. We don't need to be perfect to win every game. We just need to make sure we don't lose games, and importantly, don't lose confidence. That's the most important thing. And so, I mean, it's in a very, very important win that takes us close to 4. Spurs lost in the FA Cup, but like I said, that could be a momentum killer for them coming off the back of 2 good wins against West Ham and Chelsea.
Yeah,
we've got to capitalize, man. We still got to play Spurs. We beat Newcastle at home recently. We've got a massive game on Sunday.
we still have to play. I think we still have to play everybody apart from Newcastle above us. So Spurs, Arsenal, Man City, United will come up again on Sunday. Spurs, yeah, those 5 teams have still got to play. So it's those 4 teams. Sorry, so it's going to be interesting,
Yeah.
and also to bring it on to United, like it's this is probably going to be one of our hardest games, and to the point that you made in terms of now, this is how we have to accept that this is how Liverpool are going to play. It's not going to be that razzle dazzle kind of all guns blazing kind of football. It's more sit back, try and be as compact as possible, and then when the game starts opening, then we can start attacking teams. Because like today, we only started playing when the spaces started appearing in the Wolves back line field. So, well, apologies, it's been a long day. It was only when we were playing in the tight spaces, we weren't able to open them up, and I think that's kind of what to kind of push it onto the United game. That's where I think Ten Hag and United are going to try and deny us space, because when we you've seen it in a number of games this season, Nottingham Forest, even Wolves when we played them at Molineux. When you deny us space, we find it difficult to break teams down. It's
And
more when
and
the game starts to open up, then we start being able to maneuver and cause the other team problems. Or what do you reckon?
yeah, I mean the United game is gonna be a big issue for us because I'm worried because, like I said, United are a team in my opinion right now. They're still not that good when they're having to build out from the back or build out in the first phase. They're still struggling in situations where United are comfortable. Are situations where the other team has the ascendancy and they're able to hit them on the break and hit them on the attack.
Mm,
It reminded me of an old Ole pragmatic ball where they're able to defend really well in tight spaces, defend really compact, really solid, and they
yeah,
have and right now they have two fantastic defenders who absolutely live for box defending. Van Dijk, I mean, Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez absolutely thrive in situations where they're able to defend in the box. And you've also
mm,
got Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka is a fantastic right back. I mean, he's playing fantastically well now. So it's crazy because the way we play, United will absolutely love it because they thrive off space, they thrive off exploring space, and they have players like Bruno Fernandes, players like Rashford,
yeah,
players like Virgos, players like Garnacho, players like Anthony, even especially right now, who love situations like this, and then they have a DM in Casemiro. Who's fantastic in defending and being a destroyer, where he's able to sweep up a bit like Fabinho, and he can
mm,
play those killer balls. Also, he's a fantastic ball striker of the ball. So, I'm normally quite optimistic, but I'm very very worried about this United game because we're facing them at a time where they're full of form.
mm.
The way we play absolutely suits them, and so it's going to be a super tough game for us. But we'll see.
I'm not gonna do. We're singing from the same hymn sheet because I'm worried that they don't. Not that they don't have a chink. It's that the first goal in this game is going to be so important because I believe if they get the first goal, the minimum they get is a draw out of that game. I don't see them losing because
Yeah.
this season we haven't been good at coming back from 1-0 down, or for God forbid
No,
two.
we've been terrible. We've been absolutely terrible. When we concede goals, we like I said, we will tune up against Real Madrid. We concede a goal, we lose the game 5-2. Like
Yeah,
if we end up going halftime 2-0 instead of 2-1, 2-1, we probably would have ended maybe sort that game out.
yeah,
It's a big. We used to be mentality monsters, but we're absolutely the complete opposite of now in terms of when we concede a goal or things don't go away, we absolutely drop level.
yeah.
That's astonishing. So it's a big issue for us. You're right about that.
Would so for the lineup for Sunday? I'm assuming would you bring Gakpo in and bring back Robertson and Henderson, or how would you play? Would you? I know I wouldn't keep the
For
team.
me,
team.
for me, for me, for me, surprisingly, even though I was kind of bashing the midfield a little bit earlier, I would actually keep the midfield the same in my opinion, only because I'm worried
Really?
about. I'll explain why.
Yeah, go on.
I'm I'm worried about Henderson's chaotic and almost hoofball nature, where he tends to pick up the ball in areas and play passes where he's not capable of passing. And I'll explain why that's an issue. Like I said, the same against Real Madrid. If we can see turnovers, we will be punished for them. And
Yeah,
Henderson is a player who loses the ball in key areas, tries passes that he's not capable of, and does it a lot. Stefan and Elliot, two things for them. They might not be the best ball carriers, but they're players who will not lose the ball that much. Elliot is so technically secure that I'm confident when this guy picks up the ball and picks up the area, he's gonna make a pass. He might not find the pass perfectly, but he's a player that 9 times is going to keep the ball and find a good pass. Henderson, if to 1 time out of 10, he might pick up the ball in the key area and make a good pass. Henderson is a player where, for all of his pressing and his intensity and winning duels and being aggressive and applying himself, that I cannot deny, and that's been evident in the last 3-4 games.
Yeah.
But that might be good against the Newcastle or Wolves, where the risk of us losing, the risk of us being punished, the risk of us being punished is very low. But against Real Madrid and against Rashford and against Manchester United, these are players. They have players who will exploit those, and 9 times they're going to punch for those. So in my opinion, I'll keep the same midfield. I would also take out Nunes and replace him for Gakpo and put Jota down the left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't start Nunes either.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm trying to think. Did Nunes play in the Old Trafford game? He didn't, did he?
No, I think he was suspended for them. He was suspended for it.
Yeah, because of the sending off from Palace. No, I would play Nunes. I would play Nunes just because he's the only player. For me, Jota is not ready. He's not ready to start a game of this magnitude yet. Just because he struggled to find his feet out to out to Kadir. He says, "No way you're benching Nunes, bro." I'm of the same opinion, Kadir. I'm not benching Nunes. For me, I start with Gakpo, Nunes, and Salah, just because I know what I get from them three. Like you get the speed from Nunes, you get the guile from Gakpo, and Salah. He normally is a big game player, even though this season hasn't really turned up. Jota still, for me, still a little bit behind in terms of having the game form or the game kind of tempo to play at. He struggled against Wolves, in my opinion. And maybe that's because the team was struggling in the first half. But even in the second half, like I said before, he got the assist. I didn't really see much from him. Maybe it's going to take him a little bit longer to get on because he was out for a while. So that would be my starting. That would be my starting three.
For me, the only reason why I always tend to bench Nunes is because, like I said, against Wolves, against the Newcastle, against Crystal Palace, I don't mind Nunes playing because, like I said, they don't have the players to punish us. Whereas against Manchester United and against Real Madrid, like I said, if Nunes does this thing where he likes to be so direct and take plays on, and because he lacks that technical ability, Nunes doesn't have an amazing first touch. If 2-3 players are pressuring him, the only way he'll get out of it is through running forward or using his strength. And I worry for him against Wan-Bissaka. I worry for him a lot because
Wan-Bissaka will have his number.
I think it's a very good chance to Wan-Bissaka is now because Wan-Bissaka is you talk about a player who isn't good 1v1. Nunes isn't a good 1v1 player. Nunes isn't good technically. Facing Wan-Bissaka will eat him up alive, in my opinion. The only way Nunes will. I'm not. By the way, I just clarify. I don't think Nunes could still score. So just in case he does score, I do want to save my back a little bit. I feel like the way Nunes for sure can definitely be lethal and better if range, and he'll do that through his off-ball movement, through the way he operates between the lines and where we have the ball. If our possession and in possession, he can be awareness because, like I said, Wan-Bissaka doesn't have the best awareness. His awareness is quite poor. Wan-Bissaka. So if Nunes can be smart with that, make a similar run to what that he did against against Real Madrid and did against Newcastle, he can make those runs in behind. Yeah, Kadir just commented it right now. Exactly. Yeah. If he can do those things, he will for sure be a threat. But if again he'll end up the issue is, I guess, because of the way United play, he'll end up picking up balls. He'll end up picking the ball in areas where he'll have to be technically good to get out of them. And I feel like Wan-Bissaka will have his number for that, unfortunately.
Okay, well, you have a point. Out to Kadir, he says Nunes runs in behind something Wan-Bissaka struggles with, bro. Yeah, well, look, for me, the reason why I said I would start with Nunes is just because I think he had more threat. He would have more of a threat than Jota would have started. Jota, when the game is hectic and frantic, that's when I think he's at his best. When it's very tight and compact. I might be proven wrong, but I just feel like Nunes will have a bigger impact than Jota, but we'll see how it goes. And also as well, just to say you would stick with the same midfield. For me, I can't start. Elliot can't play in midfield. For me, just not in that magnitude of game. Maybe maybe with half an hour he can come on and do something. But for me, it pains me to say it, but I start with Basetic, Fabinho and Henderson. I can't believe I'm saying this, but for me, it's just their midfield. In these kind of games, you have to have men in midfield. And even though Basetic is a young kid, I still feel like he would stand up to the task. Elliot, he just seems a little bit lightweight for me. Out to Kadir, he says, yeah, Hendo has to come back in for Elliot. And it's not a slight on Hendo. It's not a slight. I'm not taking Elliot out because I don't think he hasn't got the ability to do what he needs to do. It's just that then you know what these type of games are like. They're very hustle bustle kind of. You have to be a man and stand up to the challenges. Look, rough and tumble. And I don't think Elliot is ready for that rough and tumble yet. Maybe when he gets a little bit bigger and grows into his body a little bit more. But right now, you need men that are going to be in that midfield, and because you need to be stood up and counted. I know it's very cliche what I'm saying, but these games at home as well, you're gonna need guys that are gonna be a little bit more secure the ball. And I know you said Henderson gives away a ball a lot away, but I feel in this game he will be more assertive than Elliot will be. And you need, I just think these kind of games, you can't give any quarter. Because for me, what does it say if we bench our captain for Elliot in this big game? I think it will give the other team, I think it will give United more of a boost if they see no Henderson in the midfield. Because Elliot, to me, doesn't scream enforcer, doesn't scream ball player, doesn't scream guy that will hurt you playing the ball in between them. He's not there yet. Maybe another season or two, but for me, and then obviously Robertson will come back for Costa as 100%. Yeah. You need that shithouser in there. You need it. Robbo is keen. Trent, for me, even though we haven't been at our best, Trent has performed really well over these last 5-6 games. I know, obviously, there was a mishap in terms of the guy that scored Madrid from the corner, but apart from that, he's been really good in my opinion. I don't know whether you disagree.
Yeah, no, for me, for sure. I mean, Trent's been getting a lot of stick recently because of his body language more than anything, rather than his performance. People complain that perhaps he doesn't look up for it, or perhaps he's not smashing the floor we can see it, or he's not strooping. But for me, I'm not really concerned about that. For me, Trent's always been that kind of player. He's been that kind of nonchalant player where it looks like perhaps on the pitch he's not as aggressive, or he's not as. But for me, that's not an issue. For me, I'm worried about his performance on the pitch. I think defensively, he's performed really well in his. Remember, people forget that's 4 Premier League clean sheets in a row. That's a big deal from the Cristiano Ronaldo. 4 Premier League clean sheets in a row. Alisson, 4 Premier League clean sheets in a row. Alisson now has 9 clean sheets in the Premier League. That's the fourth most. That's the 4th most this season of all the goalkeepers in the Premier League. Look at the difference, and Trent's played a big part of that. I think this idea of him being 1v1 per week, like I said, when the midfield position is fine, Trent will be fine because they'll balance off each other. They'll cover each other's bases. So for me, Trent's been good these last few games. You're right.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, look. We're gonna call it a day there, but let me just ask for your score prediction. People in the chat as well. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And before you go, people in the chat, let me get your score prediction for Liverpool versus United. I'll let you go first, bro. Would you reckon?
I think we'll be United 3-0.
Ooh!
We'll see.
We'll see. They're not gonna get something.
I think we'll be United 3-0 if we bench Nunes, but we'll see.
Ah, you was doing so well, bro. You was doing so well. I don't think it's gonna be a. I don't have the same confidence as you. I'm going.
It'll either be scrappy, 1-0 to United, 1-1, something like that, or we win, or we win completely. We'll see.
My heart says 1-1. My head says 1-1. My heart says 2-1 Liverpool.
So I can just never envision in my head us winning 2-1. Like 2-1 doesn't sound right unless it's like two we win we go 2 goals up and then United
Yeah,
score.
that's what I'm
2-1.
thinking. That's what the
But like
2-1 is.
for me, if it's like United score first, I don't think we win the game. And I feel like if we score and United equalize, I don't think we win the game either. So the only way is
Oh,
2-1 in my
really?
opinion, is if it's 2-0.
Okay.
If we score and United equalize, like if United equalize second half, I feel like we lose the game because of the way we do, because
Oh,
of
it's
the
on.
way it's been the last few months. It depends. Maybe these last 4 Premier League clean sheets have seen a mentality shift, but we'll see. We'll see.
But you went 3-0 though, bro. Like that's like
Yeah, bro.
dismissing.
If we play that Elliot in the pockets and Nunes on the bench, we won't really, bro.
Kind of, all right, we'll see. Look, you might be proven right. Let's see what happens. Kadir agrees with me. He says 2-1 Liverpool. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a day. But we should be back after the game on Sunday with the usual panel. Ben should be back hosting. I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure if he's going to the game or not. But you'll definitely have me here, and we'll definitely have more. Listen, thank you for tuning in, and catch us on Sunday. Take care, people. Have a good evening.